let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Hey, man, it's great to meet you. Thank you so much for taking some time out. I'm looking forward to getting in to your life as kind of a visionary founder and a CEO and all of this work that you've done. So thank you for taking a minute out. I appreciate it.
Hey, thank you. No problem at all. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
absolutely. So let's begin our journey into your life by asking you this. The pandemic was a big deal for all of us. A lot of us
hmm
had to pivot and change, and it really just changed things for us. How much of living through that time period has reverberated into the way that you do business and live your life today?
Um, so a lot of people don't share my the way I seen the pandemic. It was the pandemic itself wasn't great, but the timing as far as what I had going on was great.
Yeah,
The only thing that really changed pretty much was business as usual. The only thing that really changed for me is because I do commercial photography as well. Was not doing studio work and just transitioning to being able to do work at home. The
yeah,
work didn't slow down. If anything, I think the work even picked up because of the pandemic.
yeah.
But not being able to go to the studio and being able to just do work at home was just amazing. And things picked up. I did a lot of marketing consulting as well. When I did need to go out, there was nobody on the roads. Had the whole highway to myself. Interstate 95. I could see, far as the eye could see, front and rear, there were no cars. The weirdest thing ever.
Yeah,
Like you don't never get on Interstate 95 and not see cars. Like it's just crazy.
yeah.
So, I mean, it was a sad time, but as far as being able to pivot and just live in life, it was a very relaxing time. Was able to just pivot great. I'd say I probably fell into a few things just because. And, I think I came out a lot stronger business wise because of it.
So let's needle into exactly what you do on a daily basis. And to do that, I want to put you in front of a bunch of kids, third graders, career day. One of the kids in the back of the room is like, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you answer them?
Oh my. So I do a lot of things. I'm big on volunteering, so I do a lot of volunteering. Um, so probably about 3 or 4 times a week, I do some volunteer consulting calls. I have my regular client base that I do consulting calls for. I do some data and analytic contracts. So that's pretty much the lion's share of time. Just depending on where the schedule is throughout the day. I do a lot of data and analytics. A lot of telephone consultation is more of the lion's share of the time after that. And here and there, probably 3 or 4 times a month, I'll make it into the studio for whatever, whether it's a video or whether it's for photography or something else, just whatever's going on, I'll make it into the studio. So this past week, I was at New York Fashion Week. So that pretty much soaked up my time for that whole week, doing photography and just kind of hanging out with some of the organizers and networking and things like that. So that's a good time. I really enjoy that doing photography, and then the editing is kind of nurturing and soothing for me. I enjoy editing photos. I can just like sit up for hours and just edit photos all night long.
Yeah,
Uh, so yeah, so that was like the last week. Things change from week to week depending on what's going on.
yeah.
Before that week, for some reason, I did a whole ton of consultations. Like it just seemed like for some reason they were just all bunched up and scheduled in like 3 or 4 days. So yeah, it just depends. Sometimes I'm out the door and not really on the phone, just running around. So it just really depends on, what business calls for on any given week or any given day for that matter. Like today,
Absolutely.
I'll be editing today for the rest of the day after we're done with this.
Okay.
So,
Well, that's a good mix up. You got a lot of movement and
mhm.
static, kind of a mix up there. So take me back to when you were in the third grade, when you were a kid. What was your dream? What was your vision for your life?
To be a bus driver.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, yeah. So that was the thing. I don't know why. So I love transportation. I am definitely a transit advocate. I hate driving. That was why one of the reasons why the pandemic was so great. I had the road to myself. Didn't have to worry about anybody. So that was great. Hate driving. I do it when I need to. Big on transportation. Big on expanding transportation. I want to make transportation better, walkable, all that stuff. So I'm big on that. So yeah, third grade, wanted to be a bus driver. Had that dream for I don't know some years until I fell in love with trains, and then had that for a little while.
Yeah,
So yeah, but that's wanted to be a bus driver. I remember that
cool.
very vividly.
Very cool. So take me back to your childhood, your beginnings. Where were you born and raised? And what were these seeds that were planted into you to have this right and left brain between creative and photography and being a consultant and analytical? How did all of these skills and seeds get planted into you to evolve into your career today?
All right. Well, so those skills came a lot later on. I started off in electromechanical engineering, so
Okay.
that was the start. Did that for a little while. Became a technician. Worked on various items, production lines, weapon systems in the military, even railroad equipment later on. So probably, if you can name it, at some point I probably touched it with a wrench or a multimeter somewhere. So did that for a while. Did some management at a auto store and manager for dealerships and things like that. Because of that background led me there. Then actually got a chance to work on the railroad as a conductor for a little while. That transitioned me into being a dispatcher and superintendent of operations for one of the bigger regional transit authorities. So that's where I kind of learned my operational and really honed in my management skills and really learned about organization management and structure. Like that position kind of cemented that, right? On the more creative side of things, I started off probably about '09, dabbling around with podcasting and video production. Um, Sorry, let me take it back one more notch. Even before that, I got into customer experience. So with that, I worked with companies like Apple and Carnival Cruise Line and Coach and some other Fortune 500 companies that were on a contractual basis, doing different, whether it be training or managing other CSRs or something along those lines, whatever was needed. So learned a lot. Apple really, that philosophy that Apple used to have, they've kind of gotten away from it now. The philosophy that they used to have is kind of like my ground floor for customer experience. So did that. I was doing that pretty much the whole time right before video production up until recently. That company is now dissolved. I'm out of that contract customer experience business. I'm kind of out of that now officially. It took a while. I've been saying that for a few years, but I've finally done it.
Yeah.
Because just a lot of work, bringing in people, managing a bunch of folks, constant turnaround. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Um, so, yeah, did that for a while. Video production, got into that, doing podcasting. That got me into photography. Started off in video, started playing around with the camera, taking pictures, dumped the video, doing photography full time. Um, and the thing that kind of got the marketing kicked off, that really got the marketing started, was you do these beautiful pictures. People take the pictures, they post them like, oh man, this is great. They post them, they love them, they put them on their social media, they put them on their website. Then a couple of weeks later, they're like, I'm not selling anything, or nobody's looking, or I'm not driving any traffic, or whatever the case may be. And it's like, all right, well, I mean, you wanted me to take pictures. That's what I did.
Yeah.
So later on, I started figuring out, all right, well, you don't have anybody buying anything because you didn't have anybody buying anything in the first place.
Yeah.
So that picture's not going to make somebody buy something if they don't see it,
Hmm.
right? So it's like if people don't know what you do, then they don't know.
Yeah.
So it's like that got me into marketing. Having that happen to me quite a few times, that's what really started getting me into marketing. So I started studying that, did some marketing courses and things like that, and that kind of got me where I am now.
Yeah.
All those things used to be independent of each other: customer experience, marketing, and the creative side, photography, video production. All those things used to be independent of each other. And I always had to walk this balancing act of, how to do what I love, how to do what I like, and how to do what really pays the bills, and merge all these things, right? So that has evolved in now to digital media asset management.
Yeah.
So, that allows me to kind of sell the whole bulk of everything because we can create the asset and manage the asset as well. So that allows me to market, that allows me to create as well, and, still do marketing consultations and things like that that I enjoy doing as well too.
So how has that worked for you to do the marketing after you take the pictures? Has it just been the clients are happy because they're moving and they're getting exposure and all of that?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So it's still more towards the commercial side of things. So like I work with some fashion fashion organizers doing that. So I'm also a Getty photographer. So I'll go and take photos or whatever like that, and then we work together to get the photos over to Getty. I do some PR management as well. So a lot of organizers like that to be able to take those photos, get the photos out there, run stories, things of that nature. So it's a lot of aspects that just don't come and show up and take pictures.
Yeah.
Like I come, show up, take pictures, and then we figure out like, okay, I want to market these pictures over here. I want to market them over there. I want to do this. I want to do that, and it's exposure for everybody.
So I take photos. I've been taking photos since I was in high school in the dark room, and I've always loved it. What's the camera and what's the subject? If you had your druthers, what would you do? What would you love to take pictures of?
Wow, that is a good one. Probably. All right, so I'll say this. I don't know why. Tommy Hilfiger, I would love to go and work a runway of a Tommy show, right?
Okay.
So there's that. And then probably, like a real nice pair of Cole Haans or, like maybe a Creed cologne bottle or something, which I haven't. I've been saying I was going to do just to have fun, and I haven't gotten around to it yet.
Yeah.
But like Creed has some nice bottles, so I was like, I'm going to photograph these one of these
Yeah.
days, and one of these days I'll get to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I mean, I think probably the big one is probably like the Tommy show, like
Okay.
being right there, Tommy show, or either what's her name? I forgot her name. The singer Rihanna, either a
Yeah.
Tommy show, a Rihanna show, or
Okay.
Victoria's Secret show. So that'll probably be like my three as far as runway stuff go to
Okay.
get to. Yeah.
Very cool. I had a good friend of mine that actually introduced me to the digital camera for the first time because I was resistant. I
Hmm.
had a manual Pentax K1000. I was totally fine with paper photography. And then, of course, once I got it, I was just totally bedazzled by what it could do. Um, they used to do commercial photography for food. So they would have this whole get up and they would make this wonderful food and they would always have lunch. They'd always have leftovers. They'd always have this great spread. But it was amazing to see what they would do and how they would spray it with water and how they would embellish
Yeah.
it. Man, it's
Hmm.
like behind the scenes when you look at how all that works, there's so
Yeah.
much prep that goes in.
Definitely. And it disappoints some of your viewers. Sometimes some of that stuff isn't really food.
It's not. It's not. Like when I see the billboards now, I think about it in a different way because I'm like, I don't know, man. It doesn't look like it's edible to
Hmm.
me, but it
Yep.
looks good, you
Yeah,
know?
definitely, definitely. Real food is not attractive.
No, it's not. It never looks like it should. So let me ask you this. Who's been kind of an inspirational, heroic force for you in your life and your career?
Oh man. So I would have to say my grandmother. She's been like a really really big influence on me. Just kind of like my frame of mind, the way I think, um, how I handle things like that. That's a really big influence. Um, Kind of followed around Carl Thomas online for a while. So, him and the way he shoots with lights and everything, like I really, really enjoy that. Marketing, there's some guys in the sports industry. I used to work with some sports teams here and there as well too. So some guys in the sports industry that held my hand and carried me through and helped me get different contracts in other places. So a variety of people.
Yeah. What the thing about being in business and the way that you do things is that you're going to have to take risks. You're going to have to
Mhm.
walk into things that you're not familiar with. What's the biggest risk in your career that you've taken and you look back and you think that really worked out? But in the beginning, it was like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Quit my job.
Okay.
Quit my job. Yeah, it was kind. I mean, I guess business was kind of like here, right?
Yeah.
And you're looking for business to start going upwards, and that didn't happen right away. Probably didn't happen for a year or so.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess I managed pretty well. It didn't get tight, but it was anxious because I didn't get that rise like I thought.
Yeah.
Thought, "Oh, yeah, I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna do this thing, and it's gonna be great."
Yeah.
And it was really slow.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
wasn't so great in the beginning.
Yeah.
So,
So if you got approached by a high profile Fortune 500 company to take photos and you had to show the work that you find is your best, the event that you took that just stands out as the top of the top, what would that be? What was one of your favorite events to photograph that really exudes and exhibits your work the best?
um, I would say, all right, so I'm gonna pat myself on the head a little bit. I did Daniel's Leather fashion show over the weekend, and I'm going through those photos and I'm just looking, I'm like, man, like these photos are just crazy. Like just where I'm at now is just like a culmination of skills.
Yep.
Being able to take the photos, and then I haven't even like put the final edits on them yet. And I'm just like, man, when I get done with these, they're gonna be like crazy. I already know like the edit in my head that I want to use. It's like this is gonna be ridiculous. These things are just crazy.
Yeah.
So I would have to say like that particular show right there, and looking at like they had great lighting, everything was good. There's some shadowing and like the way it was hitting the models that I'm gonna play around with. Yeah, those photos came out extremely well.
Yeah.
Like it blew me away.
Yeah. So what gets you up every day? What is it that gets you up and allows you to be the best version of you, to do the best work, take the best shots, take care of clients? What is that motivation for you every day to do that?
So I just enjoy success, right? I enjoy success. I enjoy seeing others be successful. I truly just want to help people be successful. I got to pay my bills some kind of way, so I got to focus, make sure I get some return on investment of whatever I put out there. But as long as I do that, I just enjoy helping people,
Yeah.
you know. And I have to just do this thing sometimes, and I'm getting back into it of like just do. Because trust me, if I could sit around and drink coffee all day and watch YouTube and man, I would be doing that definitely.
Yeah.
But it's just the mentality of sometimes it's just like it's a just do. Man, I just gotta do this. I just gotta. And usually once it gets rolling, like it doesn't take long. Like
Yeah.
came in here, I was kind of low energy, and now I'm like, man, I'm ready to go now.
Yeah. Totally.
So yeah, yeah, exactly. So it's sometimes it's just do it. Don't think about it. Don't don't feel like, yeah, man, I don't feel like doing this. It's just do it. Sometimes you have to do that because we go through ups and downs. Everybody
Yeah.
goes through ups and downs, no matter how successful you are or how successful you're not.
Yeah.
Some things may affect if you have those ups and downs more, but it doesn't matter. We all do it. Sometimes you just don't feel like it,
Yep.
and you have to be like, I'm just going to get up. I'm just going to go and just put your hat on, lock the door behind you, and get on with business.
So don't hit snooze, go. Just get up and
Just
move.
get up and go. Yeah.
That's it. So I'm curious, you mentioned volunteering, which I've done volunteer work and I used to work for the YMCA and other organizations like United Way that have been really good about taking care and looking out for others. What kind of perspective has volunteering done for you in being a businessman? How has all of those kind of coexisted and fed into each other?
Um, well, it always looks nice when you volunteer.
Yeah,
So
right.
that's one thing, right? That's the return. Always looks nice for you. Number two is just, knowledge and just kind of people understanding the way things work. I just did it. So I volunteer with SCORE. I do SCORE mentoring. And I was talking to a young lady, and it's just like that, trying to get her to understand certain things about business and the way, she needs to look at certain things. It's
Yeah,
just like, oh, man, trying to get that point across. And it's not a shock anymore. Even dealing with some nonprofits, that I've dealt with. And I mean, like nice nonprofits, getting money, accomplishing their mission, doing what they have to do, and they're just so disorganized and
yeah,
just so tore up. So it's just like dealing with that, trying to yoke people in,
yeah,
get them to be a little bit more efficient and run operations a little bit more efficient so they can be more successful. That's like the biggest thing.
yeah. So at the end of the day, Ron, of everything that you've done in your career, the evolution of your career arc, of everything that you've done, what are you the proudest of? What's the thing that rises up?
Um, I would have to say, this where I'm at in photography, definitely.
Yeah.
Photography is my love. Like it's just a love. Where I'm at in photography and marketing. I never thought that I would have the knowledge or the approach of, you know, what I know about marketing and, where I help people with marketing. My professional career was good as well, like rising to the heights where I was in my professional career. Um, Being an assistant director and superintendent, like that stuff's great too.
Yes.
So like those personal achievements, things that I didn't see like way back when, like back in 2009, 2010, 11, 12, like some of this stuff was, not seen.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, everyone has a perception of you: family, friends, clients, colleagues, but you run the show. What's your
Mhm.
perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Oh, so it depends. Work environment, I guess some people would probably say, that guy's a prick. You know, when it comes to business, I'm kind of like
Yeah.
right there, just like there's not a lot of gray area.
Yeah.
This works, this doesn't work. I'm very numbers driven. Look at the numbers. So a lot of people talk about, well, I think, and this might and all that stuff. Like, no. If you have 12, you got 12. If you have 150, you got 150. If you got zero, you're not going to get 150. Like, we have to figure out how to get zero to 150, and we
Yeah.
have to look at data.
Yeah.
This is not like, oh, I think I'm going to do this, and then all of a sudden I'm going to have 150. Like, no. So I'm very focused and very granular, and like there's just not a lot of gray area. So that's business. On the personal side of things, I'm a little bit more relaxed.
Yeah.
I try not to bring that business persona into personal life, like dealing with family and friends. Want to be a lot more relaxed, want to be a lot more chill. So that's what I try to bring to the personal life and leave that side to business and consulting and dealing with that stuff.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this: if anyone wants to see your work, they want to reach out, they're curious, they want to consult any of the good business, where do they go?
Ron R MPFR on most social media platforms, MPFR.com. Ron R at MPFR.com. So Ron R MPFR, you're going to run into it.
Right
Run
on.
into me, you're going to run into the work.
Right on. I'll put it out in the show notes. Ron, this has been wonderful. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time.
Hey, thank you as well. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me, and hope your guests enjoyed.
Absolutely.